Welcome to today's episode. It's episode 31. I'm Roxy, and today I am taking you on my morning walk. It's a chilly morning here in Spain where I live, and I'm taking you on the trails that I usually ride with my bike. And I was just riding 3 days ago when I was coaching a pro XCO rider on line choice and on some of the fundamentals to get through these tricky sections here easier. And it's blue sky, but it's pretty chilly, as I said. So 13 degrees. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit, I'm sorry. But I wanted to take you out and talk about something that in my life, in my own life, and also in the clients I work with, or in the life of the clients I work with, has been game changer, has been revolutionary. And although it's something very simple, and now that we're coming towards Thanksgiving, which here in Europe we don't celebrate actually, but when I found out about it, probably when I was a teenager, watching series and I saw Thanksgiving dinners and I looked into it, I was like, what a beautiful thing to celebrate. How amazing to have a whole holiday around gratitude. And that's something that I want to talk about today, because gratitude can be life-changing. And don't worry, I have studies to support what I'm saying, and I'm going to talk you through it, because today I'm going to give you some hands-on exercises, and actually a super simple exercise to bring more joy to your rides and everyday life. And of course, the why to this exercise. So what's the point of doing this exercise in the first place? And as I said, I'm going to share some scientific studies. Don't worry, they're not boring. They're actually super interesting, with results showing that this is not woo-woo and that there is a real good reason to do these things. If you've been here for longer, you already know that I'm not only a full-time mountain bike skills coach, but also a certified psychological counselor and a graduate mental trainer. So that's why both in my real life coaching and also in my content here, I interrelate how both mental strength and physical abilities, how they interrelate, because I just know that our mind and body, they are inseparably intertwined. So the other day I got a comment saying, you just stick to skills, stop talking about these stupid things. And I was like, well, that's the whole point of my channel. That's why it's called Ride and Inspire, because our body and mind, we cannot just separate them. And working with both, that's just going to boost both your performance and your mood and everything you do in life if you start to look at both the body and the mind. And that's why I went back to university, got all those degrees, because I know that yes, we can ignore these things, but if we work with our fears, with our body, with our mind, it can make such a difference. And it has done so in my personal life as well. Sorry about the background noise. You may be hearing a motorcycle. As I said, I'm walking on the trails nearby my house. So, Thanksgiving. It is a time to reflect on what we're grateful for, right? So the people in the US listening will know better, of course. As I said, we don't celebrate it here. But it's fascinating to see, for me, also generally, how this practice of gratitude actually impacts us. Did you actually know that focusing on positive moments, like even on your ride, like for example, if you focus through getting through a section really nicely, or you focus on the beauty of the view, or you show gratitude for a new part on your bike that you have, like a new red stem, and you like it. So the details, once you focus on these details, that it gives you this warm, fuzzy feeling, and it actually makes you feel better than when you just ignore these things and take them as granted. And studies show this. So this is not just me saying this. Studies show that savoring good experiences, whether it is those little details I talked about or just everyday things, that they can boost your mood and they can help you recover from stressful situations more effectively. It's like this buffer effect. So the more often you feel gratitude and you actually savor moments, the more of this buffer effect you can create, the more resilient you become to other stressors, and generally the more happier you become, because the more often you'll feel these happy hormones. So why should we do this? And why does this actually work? In my last episode, I already talked about focus, right? You may remember. And basically, focus is the solution to a lot more than we think, because our brain, it will receive over 12 million bits of information per second. And out of these 12 million bits, consciously, we will only perceive about 110. That's like less than one rice corn. Do you call it like that in English? So one little rice grain in, I think, 20 kilograms of rice, which is a huge, huge amount of rice. And that is like one droplet in a pool. That is the amount of information we will consciously perceive out of all the information that is coming towards us every second. And focus helps us put a spotlight where it really belongs. So we can choose which of these droplets in that pool we want to be seeing. We can choose whether we want to focus on something positive or whether we want to focus on something negative. And that impacts us much more deeply than anything we think. So focus is basically the answer to unhappiness or happiness, because what you focus on, you'll start seeing. Your brain is like cosmic Google, so it will find whatever you ask it to find. So if you ask your brain to find negative experiences, it will think about the negative experiences, it will find more negative experiences and give you more negative feelings. So if you're out on a ride and if you're focusing on, oh, I was slower in that corner today, I didn't ride that section today, oh man, I'm the last person, everyone's waiting for me. What do you think your brain is going to do? Is it going to give you positive feelings or negative feelings? Is it going to start focusing on more of these things or less of them, right? And that's what we can train. It's all about training what to focus on. I'm sure it has happened to you that when a ride doesn't go as planned, like you have a flat tire or you just didn't clear that tricky section that you usually always clear, we tend to dwell on it, right? That frustration, it can linger like long after the ride ends, and we keep replaying it in our mind. Wow, man, that section, I should have ridden that line. Man, that tire, and the spare tube was new and so expensive. You know, we dwell on these things, and that frustration then lingers around. But when something great happens, like you do nail that technical section, or you nail the technical climb, or you ride a perfect section, like a flowy section, really quickly and really in that flow moment, we often move on too quickly. Like we don't fully appreciate the moment. So this is another exercise that I want to give you. So the first exercise is, for the next few days, try flipping the script. So when something positive happens on the trail or even off the bike, then pause and savor it. Let it really sink in. Just like you may now on the weekend savor that last bite of your favorite Thanksgiving dessert. But really savor it. Feel it in your entire body, what this is doing with you, how this makes you feel happy, and show yourself gratitude for it. Yes, this is, in the beginning, is going to feel weird, and it will take some practice. Trust me, I've been there. As I said in one of my last episodes, I was strongly anorexic. I, at some point, even tried to take my life. I was very depressed. Then I went through years of therapy, and then I went through years of school to become a psychological counselor myself, because I know how debilitating these feelings are. Because I know how dark these places can be. So I also know the other extreme. But through my daily gratitude practice, which I still do today, and which I feel if I don't do it, I have flipped my life 100%. And the same happens when I work with my clients, both depressed clients, clients with anxieties on and off the bike, because it's usually always a combination of both, that people come with anxieties off on the bike and it transfers to their life off the bike and vice versa. So then we change their focus and we implement gratitude practices into their life. But yes, it will take practice, just like skills. Learning skills takes practice, but the more you do it, the easier it will get. And just like with skills practice, the more we do something, the easier it gets, and the harder something is, the more we actually need to practice it. Like when you're practicing track stands, don't just practice the good side, you need to practice the bad side. The harder something is, the more we need to do it. And here's an extra reason to do so. When we overcome that initial, I don't want to do this, you know that feeling, that resistance, then dopamine is released if we actually do it. And dopamine is not only a hormone that is released when we do something that brings us pleasure, and it often comes with other hormones like serotonin and endorphins. It's actually proven that the more challenging it is to get going, the more of it is released. So that's an extra reason to practice the things that you're not really good at. So if right now you're like, whatever, gratitude practice, whatever, and okay, Thanksgiving, I'll show a little gratitude, and you have this resistance towards it, then remember, if you do actually do it, the level of dopamine released will be even higher. Okay, so next thing I want to dive into, why should we actually practice gratitude? So does it actually change anything? I can tell you from my experience, both my personal experience and my professional experience, it does. But of course I have a study for you, because why should I believe Roxy? So according to this study, it doesn't. Let me explain. One of the first set of studies tested the effects of counting our blessings, so of showing gratitude. I'm going to link the study below. And researchers asked a group of students to sit down once a week, just once a week, and write down 5 things in their life that they were grateful for. So general things. These could be, I'm so grateful that I have a mountain bike. I'm so grateful that I have running water. I'm so grateful that I have food every day. So general things, anything they were grateful for. And the second group was asked to write down 5 hassles they were recently experiencing. Like, these stupid people driving, or I didn't clear that section. Anything that came to mind, 5 hassles. And a third group simply wrote down 5 events of any kind, neutral. So I cleaned my shoe closet. I finally replaced those brake pads. So just neutral events. And then they looked at what changed. So what do you think? Did anything change? Well, here's the answer. The results were a little mixed, but over the course of 10 weeks, the effects of counting the blessings did have a large positive effect. So students who listed their blessings each week, they generally, overall, felt more positively about both their lives in general. They were generally more optimistic about new things, about the week ahead. And this is super interesting. They reported significantly fewer health issues, like, for example, headaches, like aches and pains in general, flus, illnesses overall. And this is also super interesting. They exercised almost 1.5 hours more per week than the students who wrote down the week's frustrations. Other studies found gratitude to result in more and better quality of sleep, as well as more positive mood overall, and thus, of course, also a reduction of negative mood. So the researchers noted in this study that counting your blessings and showing that gratitude and really savoring moments can be somewhat a catalyst, like an activity that leads to psychological, emotional, and behavioral changes. And this then has a cascading effect over time. I always call this the pebble effect. Like you throw a pebble into the pond and you watch the ripples unfold. And that is what I aim to do with my podcasts and also with everything I do in my daily life, to remember that everything I do has a ripple effect. So if I'm friendly to a person, that person will probably be friendly to another person. And the first general step to be friendly to others is always to be friendly to myself. So both having that gratitude practice in my daily life, when I'm out riding my bike, looking at things that do me good, is the root of everything to do others good. And that's why I always say, look for yourself, or look after yourself first before you try to help others. Although this is super hard for me because I'm a giver, but being good to ourselves and using mountain biking as a tool to do that, and really utilizing that focus effect during our rides to focus on the things that do us good, that went well, that create happy hormones, and thus creating a positive mood out of the ride, can help us way beyond mountain biking, can help us achieve more happiness, and thus give more happiness to the world. And that's something that I want to invite you now, not only for Thanksgiving, but generally, that building a gratitude practice can seriously impact our lives and the lives around us immensely. And that mountain biking can be your tool to find this, that you really start to focus on the good things on your ride and to savor them, to show gratitude for them, and then maybe later on go back to them and don't dwell on the negative things, but dwell on the good things. As I already said before, what really matters is to build momentum for new habits. I'm sure you know this, I certainly do. Like, have you ever tried to stick to a new habit, like for example, practicing the bunny hop, and then you start lose motivation after a while? Don't worry, if you have, you're not alone. And research shows that sticking to new routines can be super tough, and what really makes a difference though is having an accountability partner and really making yourself accountable for it. So what helps me, and I really do this, I write down my practice sessions in my calendar twice a week, and this is a non-negotiable date with myself and with my bike to go out and practice. But having a real person, like an accountability partner, makes a huge difference, and a community. So if you have been wanting to level up your skills, find someone to practice with, or you want to join a supportive community, you can do this with my online community. It's a community of practice aficionados all over the world, and they focus on step-by-step practice, and they focus on practice over perfection and progress over perfection by really focusing on that consistent, small, steppy practice that you'll get in my home training courses. Because as we know, consistency is the key to improvement, whether it's on the trails or in any other area of life. So if you want to do that, then do check the link below this episode, because I have a Black Friday deal which is valid until December 1st, and you don't want to miss it. Okay, so now let's take this gratitude habit to the trails. Let's connect it to our rides. One of the best ways to do this is to appreciate the small wins. It could be, as I said, the smoothness of a section, or a well-executed corner, or simply the joy of being healthy, of being outside, of being on your bike, of making that time for yourself, no matter what the performance of that day is. So not linking your happiness to any type of performance, but just to being out on the trails. And maybe, like this Thanksgiving, you just want to reflect on that and say, take a moment and reflect on your mountain biking journey, how far you've come, what have you accomplished this year or maybe the last years. Maybe you've mastered a new skill, maybe you've just found more gratitude, or maybe you have a new bike, whatever it is. Savor the moment, celebrate it, and allow your body to create those happy hormones, because they will, as I said, create this ripple effect. Okay, before we wrap up, I have a super easy and extremely efficient exercise to share if you actually do it. That's efficient if you do it. Like with skills practice, you need to do it for it to work, not just watch it. This exercise, anyone who's worked with me in person will know. I call it the 3 good things exercise. And I want you to do this every night for just 1 week. Start with 1 week, small steps. Every night for this 1 week, take a moment and write down, like really literally write down on a sheet of paper with a pen, write down 3 things that went well that day, and make sure to also feel that emotion. So show gratitude for 3 things that happened that day, and do this for 1 week. And If you're a parent, I invite you to do this with your child. Like, ask it, make a habit. Hey, what are you grateful for today? Make a habit of introducing gratitude into your life and into your child's life, because cultivating gratitude and having that gratitude-oriented focus and generally focusing on good over bad has a huge effect in many areas of our life. As I said, it can also reduce illnesses of various sorts. So I invite you to do this. 3 good things. 3 things every night for 1 week. See what it does to you. I'm honest. Just try it out and do let me know in the comments below or anywhere else on the social media. So don't miss my Black Friday discount. It's the perfect chance to invest in your mountain biking skills, whether you're working on drops, corners, or just mastering your flow. My online coaching platform has all these skills. You can find them below. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm grateful for you, that you're here, and I'd be super grateful if you gave this episode a thumbs up and commented on YouTube, because I'm super grateful for each and every comment I get there. So until next time, happy riding, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and much, much love to you from Spain. I'm Roxy. Goodbye.